All right, let's find some composition of functions. So here's a function, f of x equals 3x plus 1, g of x equals 5 divided by x plus 2. I first want us to find f composed with g of x. What do? We start on the inside, work our way out. So if we start on the inside, we take what is g of x? Well, it's that whole mess. So I'm going to insert that in as the input for f. So I see f of 5 over x plus 2. Okay, great. But now what do? Well, wherever I see the x, I'm going to plug in 5 over x plus 2. So I'm going to plug it in right there. And so I see 3 times 5 over x plus 2, all plus 1. You see how I just replaced the x here and put in that value wherever I saw an x. We can simplify this a little bit and write 15 divided by x plus 2 plus 1. And that's the composition function. By the way, what's the domain of this function? Well, the domain of this function, where is it defined? Well, I can't have the denominator equal to 0, and so I see the domain is all x's except x equals negative 2, because if I have negative 2 here, then in fact I see this is undefined. Okay, but now let's compare that to g composed with f of x. So what's g composed with f of x? Well, now I take the output of f and use that as the input into g. And so I see g of, what's f of x? 3x plus 1. And so what do I get? Well, wherever I see an x, I'm now going to replace it by 3x plus 1. So I see 5 over 3x plus 1 plus that 2. You see how I just took that x and now made it 3x plus 1. What does that equal? That equals 5 over, I've got 3x, and then I've got a 1 plus 2 is plus 3. And so I see that g composed with f is going to be 5 divided by 3x plus 3. What's, by the way, the domain of this composition? Well, you can see for all x except where the denominator is 0. When is the denominator 0? Precisely when x equals negative 1. So x cannot equal negative 1. And so what do we see here? That is the value of the function g composed with f. We've already found the function f composed with g. And if you look at these two functions, you can easily see these, again, are different functions. So with composition, order matters. F composed with g does not equal g composed with f. Even their domains differ. So you've got to be careful of order. And remember, this is where you start on the inside and work your way out.